YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy, Buddha, back in the building for another Last Cloudia video coming at you. Today, we are going to make the first ever Buddha Fish Last Cloudia beginner guide, because now is a great time as ever to start this game. We've seen a lot of incoming traffic because of the 2nd year anniversary, and I've gotten more questions and people than ever new to the game or returning to the game with questions surrounding how do they get a leg up on their start, how do they begin the journey, the slow marathon that I would consider Last Cloudia is. And in this video, I want to cover some of the basics, some things that I learned along the way that would have definitely helped me had I started off knowing them. Gives you a good idea of things and certain standards to meet before really starting the grind that is this game. I'm sure I will miss some things, so for my veterans that are watching this video just to see how your boy Buddha does, leave it in the comments for any extra tips and tricks that will help those coming to this video looking for their best start to LC. So I want to start with Arks, because this is an aspect of the game that's going to be extremely important and will make a lot more sense as you continue to learn. But if we check out this first one here, just to give a quick overview of what they do, Arks are additional, let's consider, equipment to characters that when equipped to the character, you get this certain attribute, right? At level 10, it's fully fleshed out. As you progress it from level 1, 2, 3 up to 10, the Ark attribute is going to add to certain percentage boosts. It's going to add other effects to said attribute, and there are certain pairings that definitely go along with a corresponding character better than others. The second thing to know from them is that these skills that you can see me tapping next to, those are teachable skills to units. Now, how do you teach those skills to the units that the Ark is equipped to? You have to run them in battle with that said unit until you fill what is this AP meter. You can see with the selected Ark I have to my current character, there are separate AP meters that go along with each individual skill, and that is giving us the snapshot image of where we are with those skills and the character that it is equipped to, and how much longer it will take to teach said unit those skills. Just to give a further breakdown of what that shows, you can see, let's say Quick Trigger, the skill right there, has a ×10 AP rate. That means that every time I run it in battle with said character, I'm going to get 10 points added to that bar. So the next time I run it in battle, my character is going to go up from 460 to 470. Once we get to the total of 600 AP points, my character has the access to the Quick Trigger skill. There are other multipliers in effect, but I don't want to go too crazy with them. That is just a brief overview of what those teachable skills entail. The last thing I want to point out, well, let me say the third to last thing, is this Ark Ether reward. Now, this is going to be huge. This is what makes or breaks a lot of Arks, specifically one that we're going to talk about here. But the Ark Ether reward is something that charges up over time as you use the Ark in battle. Once you get to 100%, you can see this meter right here, Ark Ether 0.2%. Once that gets to 100%, you acquire the equipment, the Ark Ether reward AER, that is attached to that Ark. The alternative to leveling this percentage up through battle is by using these things called Ethereans. Every Etherean used increases an Ark Ether by 5%. Now, you want to be very picky and choosy because these Ethereans are hard to come by. You're going to get a good amount during the beginning of your playthrough, which may give you the false impression that these Ethereans are just always going to be given to you a lot, but that is not the case. Ark Ether grinding takes a while to do. I do have an Arc Ether grinding guide up right now. It's a little outdated, but you can get the gist of it by watching it. I plan to come out with another one sooner. So stockpile those Ethereum until you know exactly where you want to spend it. The fourth thing that I don't want to get too far into is that some Arcs will have these skills attached to them. Specifically, we see this very commonly with UR Arcs. They always have a skill of some sort. These are active skills that you proc during battle. They only activate when you manually activate them. So, like I said, a brief overview that some Arcs come with skills. The majority of Arcs don't come with those skills, but just pay attention when they do. Now, why did I go over Arcs first? Well, it's because when you start the game, after you complete your tutorial, you're going to have access to an Infinite Reroll banner. And I'm going to classify 3 priorities of what you want to be looking for in that Infinite Reroll. Each priority comes with a level of sanity that the individual watching this is going to have. I'm going to present 3 options. One is the minimum that you want to get from this Infinite Reroll. There's a second one for those who have even more patience, and a third for the absolutely insane people that like to suffer through rerolls until they get the perfect start. Now, when you are re-rolling, you actually want to be shooting for a specific arc, not a character in this case. You want to be starting off with this arc right here, right? At the bare minimum, you want to be walking away from the Infinite Reroll banner with this arc, Cloudia the Great. You might be asking why. Is it the attribute? The attribute's nice for a support type unit, but that is not the main selling point. You might say, is it the skills that you can teach to units? God Heal is actually really good as a universal heal to slap on characters if you need that. But that is not the main selling point. What is the main selling point is the Arc Ether Reward Covert Gun Trishula, okay? Or Trishula. This is a machine type weapon. Gives you a nice strength boost that you can enhance up by plus 40, so you can get that strength stat up to plus 196. But the effect is why you want this guaranteed off that Infinite Reroll. If damage is originally reduced to enemies' attribute resistance, ignore attribute resistances. To explain this in a basic sense, if you have a character that attacks with the fire element, and you're fighting an enemy with fire resistance on them, that's a scale that can go from 0 to whatever number. I think it can get up even past the hundreds. If the enemy has a certain fire resistance, if they have 50 fire resistance, if they have 20 fire resistance, if they have 100 fire resistance, Covert Gun Trishula will ignore it, and you will deal your fire damage as neutral damage, as if that resistance was 0. Now, you won't get effects that proc when an enemy's resistance is naturally 0, but when it comes to damage output, you are no longer walled by any elemental resistances with this weapon. It is by far one of the most broken effects in the game, and pretty much the meta weapon for any elemental physical DPS that you have, which is why you want to start strong with it. Now, if you have a little more patience, you want to get a little more bang for your free buck doing that Infinite Reroll, the second arc you're going to want to get within that first 10 spin is Sandworm. So remember, first you want to see Cloudia, then if you want to go crazy, try and get Sandworm on top of that. Is it the attribute? No. Is it the Arc Ether reward? Not at all. What's incredibly important about this arc is at level 10, right? These unit skills I forgot to mention, you unlock the ability to teach them as you level up the arc. And if we go to one that I don't have leveled up all the way, you'll see at what arc level that skill becomes accessible. So going back to Sandworm, the level 10 arc, which does require a good amount of investment, and we'll get into investing and how to manage that later. But once you get this arc to level 10, you get access to teach people the skill Dual Wield. Another weapon can be equipped in the place of armor, right? If we go to a character, let's go to Kyle, since he's the main flashy second year anniversary unit, and we go to his equipment tab, you can see there's a weapon and there's an armor. I have 2 weapons equipped to him because I have taught the weapon skill Dual Wield to him. Otherwise, you are not able to equip a second weapon with certain characters. Now, this combination of dual wield and Trishula, you can see I have equipped to Kyle, is what allows you to bring out the max potential when you're reaching endgame of your characters focused on physical DPS. I have a physical DPS build on Kyle, so that is why I take advantage of this strategy here. Like I said, I don't want to go too crazy into the mechanics and the whys of why it's important. Just know that it is, and if you're crazy and you've got a little more patience than I do, for example, try and get both Caldina and Sandworm in that Infinite Reroll. Now, for the truly mad, okay, the mad men, the mad women out there that want to start with the perfect free option, in my opinion, you get Caldina, you get Sandworm, and to top it off, third priority would be rolling until you get this guy right here, Phantom Thief Robin. Now, he is a farming unit. He's going to help you get materials to upgrade your characters much faster, much easier, the sooner that you have him. Now, you don't get him and then have access to all of his farming capability right off the bat. That still does require some investment. However, starting with him early game and putting some materials into him passively, upgrading him, and continuing to use him as you progress is just going to yield you more items and more materials to then put into your other characters naturally. So that is the final tier of priority I'm going to say to take advantage of with that infinite free reroll. If you are truly insane, try and get Caldina, Sandworm, and Phantom Thief Robin all in that multi-summon. Now you've got what you want from that, and it's time. You've got some gems built up from the handouts that you get from starting the game. So they're giving out a ton of free crystals right now since the 2nd year anniversary is going on. Now, what standard gacha do you pull on? At the moment, the most valuable thing that they've introduced for new players is this banner right here, the Super Descent of Heroes Festival. Now, this has everything on it. You've got all your characters, including limited characters. For those of you who aren't aware, Descent of Heroes, or abbreviated DOH, those are your limited characters that only come around when ADIS gives us their rerun banners. You've got those. You've got your general units that are in the general or permanent pool of characters you can always obtain no matter what banner you summon on. And they also have UR Arks. If you noticed in the beginning of the video, there were rarities to the Arks that we were looking at. Top tier is UR. Then there are LRs, which are very limited Arks. They're typically not the best. URs have the best stats, the best attributes, some of the best skills, and manual active skills that you can use. But LRs are just niche in their limited, event-only, time-gated availability that you can grab them. Then you've got your SSRs, which is what Caldina the Great is, Sandworm is. Those are going to be your general Arks. So your URs and your LRs are limited, they're time gated, and then your SSR Arks, SR Arks, and R Arks are all things that you can pull at any time on any banner. This Super DOH banner has all of them. Everything limited except LRs. It has URs, DOH units, and everything in the general pool. This is going to give you such a head start. I know players that are starting with multiple URs, some of the best limited units, just right off the bat. That is such a giant advantage for people that are just starting now. Depending on when you're watching this, if it's unfortunately after the 2nd year anniversary ends and these banners go away, you will then have to identify which banner is worth pulling on. We can talk about how to identify that more towards the end of this video. Currently, it's your Super DOH Festival banner, hands down, no questions asked. And that leads into what should you be looking for when pulling on this banner. Some characters I noted. So if you've got your Caldina, let's just say you did the bare minimum on the infinite reroll. You pulled Caldina, and now you have the potential to get Trishula, the equipment from there. My number one pick to get from this character roster is our girl Alice, okay? Why, you may ask? For a couple different reasons. One, she comes with dual wield, so you don't have to worry about having Sandworm to teach that to her. Two, her ability board, okay? This is a feature of every character that you unlock with materials over time. You're not just gonna get it done and completed right off the bat, but it is the most important feature of each character. You'll hear the phrase feature complete tossed around. If a character is feature complete, it means that they come with some of the most essential skills that are relative to them, meaning you don't have to worry about teaching them too much from other Arks, which takes time, it takes patience, because it's a grind to get Arks leveled up and then have those skills taught to said characters. You also have to worry about upgrading their SC pool in order to attach said manual skills, because every skill that's not inherently known by the character requires a certain amount of SC. You can see those SC amounts towards the right column of the screen. If I go ahead and flip this list upside down, you can see these are all SC costs of 0. That is because they come in Alice's ability board. Like I showed you, she does have dual wield built into her kit. She has the weapon boost built into her, which give her extra damage depending on what type of weapon you have. She can equip machines inherently. If you remember, I said Covert Gun Trishula is a machine type weapon. So the fact that she can equip it without needing any extra help is also going to make her look great. She comes with light attack raise, light critical raise. She attacks with the light element. So she has a lot of damage multiplier. She has a lot of defense capability built into her. She is going to be your best friend when clearing early game, hands down. Something else that's going to stand out is her special, okay? Catastrophe. Every unit has 4 skills, 4 abilities, I should say, is what Adis coins the term as. They've got their skill 1, their skill 2, their skill 3, and then their special. Now, Alice's special in particular is ridiculous. It has a huge damage modifier on it. It's an AoE attack, so it attacks everything on the battle map. And it allows you to defeat enemies that typically resist physical damage, so they're unaffected by your physical attacks. Her special attack will melt those enemies. And the thing about her is that she charges up her special very quickly. Every unit has a different special attack charge time, and hers charges up significantly quickly. You can cheese a lot of the game without needing where you would typically need magic attacks of various elements. You can bypass all of that with Alice's special. There's so much more I could talk about with Alice, but I don't want this to be too focused. I don't want to spend too much time getting in depth. I'm trying to brush over the surface. Just things that you can see. If you get them, you know that you're starting off very strongly. The second character I want to mention is our boy DB Ray, right? We're talking about characters that you can pick up from the Super DOH banner currently. DB Ray is a character like Alice. He comes with dual wield. He's got very nice coverage in the battle map, so he's going to be tearing through enemies very quickly. He comes with very great damage multipliers, good defense. He comes with an AoE heal for the team. He's actually the character that I started off with when he released, is when I started the game, and I focused all of my materials onto him, and he easily carried me through the story without a lot of extra help. Another kind of biased reason, but I think a lot of veterans and other players would agree, DB Ray is one of the best characters to start out this game with. Some characters that I don't actually have, but I do want to give mentions, would be Zekis, right? Shift Zekis in particular. That's the guy I'm tapping his face on the screen right there. He's a rainbow mage, so he's going to cover all of your elements when you have to deal magic attacks. He also provides great team support, and there are ways to bring out a physical damage build on him in order to give him kind of just an all-around great unit. He can cover you physical attack wise. He can give you all the elemental magic attacks. He gives the team great support, and he's very tanky on his own, so he's another character that's just fantastic to start with. Another mage that I can't really show because I don't have, who is going to help you out a lot when you start this game, is Lagrabos. Now he's just the little like Yoda old man looking character. That's his nickname, Yoda, because of how similar they look and how they act on screen. He's also a rainbow mage that comes with the only neutral type damage magical attack. Now that is extremely useful as you progress, even when you take on certain end game content like the Tower of Trials. Having a magic spell that has a very, very good damage output and is not resisted by any element is a huge W. Especially, like I said, early game, you're going to be nuking every stage, every story stage that you're taking on. So he's another great unit to start out with. And finally, I have to mention our girl. Now, Spirit Maiden Tyria, we see her banner right here. Let me show the free-to-play one. She is definitively the best healer in the game. The certain skills and abilities that she comes with and the support that she provides to the team is just unlike anything we've seen up until now. We've now got Ruto in the building, who still needs to be tested. I'm waiting on some specific details from our veterans on what his potential is, but what I can say is that we know that Spirit Maiden Tyria is hands down the best support in the game. So she's not going to be dealing the damage that you need, but if you pick her up, just know that any team that you put her on, she's going to help you survive literally 10 times easier than without her. Okay, there are a bunch of other characters that you could start off very strongly with, and that's the thing about this game, is that don't be discouraged if you're not starting off with the perfect setup right off the bat. Once you are done, you're happy with your reroll, you're ready to get started on the game, what do you need to keep in mind? Well, the best place to start the game off is just by going into the story and taking it on, grinding it out, because as you grind up story, you're going to be leveling up characters, you're going to be getting materials to continue enhancing characters, and you're going to be learning the play style, how your characters feel, and it's going to get you more comfortable with how the game actually functions and what it feels like. Now, I want to direct your attention to Soul Spot, alright? These are different towers you're going to unlock in the world map as you progress through the story that you can then level up, and over time they charge, and then you can collect the amount of souls. You can see you're going to start with one blue soul spot right here at the beginning. Make sure as you progress you're unlocking, you get your first red soul spot. Once you cross over into the next area of the map in the story, and as you keep going and following the road, you'll see that these soul spots will pop up. Make sure you're keeping your eye out for them, tapping them so that they then spring into life and come into effect on your account. This game relies on souls for a couple different reasons. One is to level up Arks, as I mentioned before. Let me pick one that I haven't leveled up. You can see Archangel Smile requires at the moment 74,000 blue souls to level it up to the next. There are also certain arts that require red souls to level up, and also you have to take into account that when you're running a team with Arks, you're going to be expending them as a sort of stamina cost right there. So for this particular party, equipped with these particular Arks, I'm going to be expending 4,400 blue souls and 940 red souls for that run. Now, why am I mentioning all of the different uses for your blue and red souls? Well, it's because you want to make sure you're managing them correctly so that you don't get frustrated and you feel like you can't level Arks up fast enough. Because initially, at least when I started, I wanted to pick which Ark I liked the best and start leveling it up. For example, when I learned Sandworm, had dual wield at level 10, I wanted to put blue souls into there to get it to level 10. Well, hold up. What you're going to want to do first is upgrade these tanks so that you're getting a higher flow of soul income per se, and that over time it's going to be giving you a better return and allowing you to level up Arks quickly, use Arks when you need them without the worry of running your souls dry. So we can look here to see what currency is needed to level up your blue and red soul tanks and towers alike. You can see that it requires Zell to upgrade your blue soul tank, and it requires blue souls to upgrade your red soul tank along with the towers, right? Those are separate. Keep that in mind. If we open up Soul Spot, we've got the individual towers here that accumulate souls over time. If I tap here, level up, we get 480 per hour, and the capacity is 5,000 for this particular tower. And at the moment, it requires 840,000 blue souls to level it up to 9. You also have the tank. So once you've accumulated the souls, you hit collect all, and it will then be transferred into your tanks, which also require investment to level up and increase the capacity of how many souls they can hold. So it does get very pricey very quickly, which is why my recommendation is to focus on upgrading these features right here early game as you're continuing. As you get these souls, reinvest them into how you're getting the souls, right? Allocate. I can't give you exactly what level you should be getting each one at every particular stage. Just be conscious, rather than dumping souls into Arks early game or using Arks to progress through story, run your teams with no Arks, as is shown here. Run your teams with no Arks as you can through story, and use the souls that you accumulate to upgrade those means of accumulation. There's also another form of stamina in this game, and that is your orange orbs right here. We can see I have 50 orange orb recoverers. That is the item that you can use to recharge those orbs manually. Right now I'm at 2 out of 10, but those are an additional stamina currency that you're going to need to clear event stages. You can see this is going to cost me 2 orange orbs. I've got 2. I can do it right now. Let's jump into it. Should you be doing events early game? And to that, my answer would be do as much as you can, okay? All right, we're going to get into why right after I show this. We're going to actually skip to one of my points, and that is settings. Now, these are the settings that you're going to want to change as soon as you get into your first battle, where you can configure the settings manually. So you saw I tapped the top right of the screen to get into this menu. Now we're going to go into settings. Here's what I want you to do. Auto attack, NPCs use specials automatically will be checked, and auto drive right here will be set to full. I want you to take auto attack off. I want you to take NPC use specials off automatically and change auto drive to semi. Okay, I don't know why full is even an option, but when you have the game in auto, which you can turn on and off on the top right just under the menu section, if you are set to full, you will not be able to control anything. The game will just automatically do what it wants, and you have zero control over it. Now with semi function turned on, semi auto drive turned on, you'll see that even though the game is operating on auto, I can still take control of my character, move him around how I want, use the skills that I want, how I want them, and then if I need to go AFK, I put the phone down and the NPC will then take over and continue to control the character. This is going to be huge for when you are auto grinding or doing something, doing another task while your game is still playing. You see that you need to be popping one skill in particular. This will allow you to pop the skill that you need, and then you can divert your attention over to something else again without your character stopping what it's doing completely. Full drive, I honestly see no point in having turned on. Always have your characters able to be controlled manually, even when you have them running in auto. In regards to turning auto attack off, when you're not in auto mode, if you have that checked and you're not moving your character, the character will continue to auto attack without you touching anything, which personally for me, if I'm manually controlling, at that point, if I don't want the character to be doing anything or moving, I want the character to be still when I want it to be still. With that auto attack on, the character's still going to be trying to do things even when I don't want them to. So that's why I suggest turning that auto attack off. And the second one is that as the player, you want to have full control when you start getting into the strategies, and it's in your best interest to have the ability to use your other character's specials at appropriate times rather than them just popping it off as soon as it charges up for them. Getting back to the question I proposed earlier, should you be doing these events? The answer, yes, as much as you can do. That is because these stages will offer event points, which more than often will accumulate to give you the rewards relative to the event that you're taking on. To Be Her Shield is the event that's currently going on. It's the one that you just saw me run one of the stages for. And you can see early game, guys, we have gotten a total of 4,000 points. I've barely grinded this at all. The stages I've done right now are stages that you'll be able to do pretty early game. Even if you're not able to complete the event fully, you should be able to get to a stage that you can then continue to grind and use your orange orbs towards to accumulate these points and get these materials. 50 crystallites of each color, some more orange orb recovers tickets right here, some crystals which are going to be very useful for you early investing in the character that you choose to. These magic tomes and regular tomes, skill books right here are going to help you unlock your character ability boards. Enhancement materials, even clusters, which are the final tier of crystallites and crystals that you need to unlock the character's board. Those chunks of materials are going to be very useful early game when you're working on your characters. That's going to lead me into my next point, which is once you get your character, like I mentioned, you get your Alice, you get your DB Ray, you get your Zekis, focus on that one character. Do not start spreading materials into all of the characters. Don't think that you can just be dropping a little bit here, a little bit there, and a little bit there, and you're not going to get stuck, because you definitely will. Early game, when you're starting, like I said, this game is a marathon, right? It's going to be slow, and it's going to take focused effort to get past the walls that the game presents as you progress through the story. Like I said, my character that I started off with was DB Ray. It took me 2 months. I wasn't quite as focused as I could have been with investing into him, but it took me 2 months to max out this guy's ability board and get his SC reserve up to 80. You can see right there, max of 80. This is going to start at 20. And then this is the SC reserve pool I was talking about, which allows you to equip taught skills to the unit. Let me show, for example, I just pulled Ruto. He's got a skill pool of 20 out of 80. That is because I haven't invested any more into the character. There are 2 ways to get the SC reserve pool up. You can either use the unit souls to increase by 1 per amount that it specifies in this corner right here, or you can use these mother souls, which are universal souls, to upgrade a character's SC pool. These are scarce resources. It's going to take a while for you to grind them up. Don't be deceived if the game is giving you a bunch of mother souls, if it's giving you a bunch of Ethereum when you're starting out, because as you use them, they're going to be harder to come by. So you want to make sure you're putting them into what's going to pay off in the long run. And when you're early game, having one character that is dominating through each story stage, it's going to allow you to take advantage of more materials, more features in the game, right? Like I said, as you progress through the story, you're going to unlock more of these soul towers, which will then allow you to have more soul income, giving you more currency, more stamina for you to play the game and level up Arks, etc. As you progress through story, as you log in, as the game continues to provide, you are going to accumulate the crystals, right? Which is your summoning currency. Extremely useful. Now, some of you might just be hoarding all your crystals. You don't want to spend it on anything except for your gachas now. That is fine, and that is how you should be, especially as a smart free-to-play player. However, there are certain things in this game that are worth spending your crystals on. The first thing you're going to have access to is tour spots, right? These are going to be one of the idle features where you assign certain characters to your tour, send them off for 8 hours, and after that 8-hour timer, you're going to get a return of whatever materials that the units gather. I could make a whole video on tours, and I probably will, because there are very special and specific items that are only really farmable via tours right here. But the point that I'm trying to make is that you can see I have 5 tour spots open right now. I think you're going to start with 1 or 2 accessible. The other 3 are going to be locked behind a certain crystal amount. spend your crystals on those as you get characters to send on these tours. It's well worth it because of the certain features and the certain materials that you can acquire via tours. The next thing you want to spend your crystals on as soon as you can are these conquer spots right here. These are going to become available as you progress through story as well. You can see I have 5 conquer sections here, and I have another area of another 5 conquer sections which you can assign 1 character towards. What makes conquer so freaking valuable and one of the most generous features I've ever seen in a gacha game is that every specified hour amount, I think you can go like 5, 10, 15, and 20 hours. You can set whatever you want. You generally just want to set it to 20 hours. And at the end of those 20 hours, you're going to accumulate 4 souls for that unit. Remember, souls are super useful because they're the currency that you're going to use to increase your unit's SC reserve, as well as increase their awakening level. That's going to be huge. Those are 2 of the most important things to bringing out a character's max potential. The conquer list is what allows a free soul grind. Granted, it's 4 souls every 20 hours, which is not crazy. It's still going to take like what, a year if you want to max out a character's SC pool and awakening fully just by going this method, but it's still a free way to bring out a character's potential without needing duplicates. That's why this game is highly praised, in the sense that you pull a character once and then you're able to max it out to its full potential without needing to chase duplicates. And once you unlock this second section, right, you're going to start with this first section, which is the main city of conquering. You're going to unlock this section at a certain point in the story where you can notice, if you look, you notice I am doubling up on certain characters. Specifically, look here at Ruto in this first section, Ruto in the second section. That means that after the 20 hours, I'm now going to get 4 souls plus 4 souls of the same character, giving 8 souls. So it's lucrative and in your best interest to pick 5 characters at a time and double up on the souls, so you're getting 8 souls per 20 hours rather than only 4. That covers the importance of using your crystals there. And finally, you're going to want to go to the shop right here and scroll down to where you see friend slots. Now, you can see I have maxed out my friend slots. I think it's 20 crystals per friend slot to increase from 50 to 51, 52, all the way up to 100 currently. So a total of 1,000 crystals needed to upgrade or increase your friend list, and it is absolutely worth it. Here's another place. If you go into the friend list section, you can go to the little tab and hit just total to increase right there. This is absolutely worth it. Why? Because every day you can go in here, go to gift, and you're going to want to make sure this is always on friend points. You can then receive gifts from the players that send, and you can also gift points, which gives you friend points as well. The more friends you have, the more points you can accumulate. And then if we go into the trading space, go to the friend point section, you're going to see a lot of important awakening materials, and extremely important. Just recently, they added these 6-star enhancement materials: Light of the World, Foreign Light, and Visionary Light, which you can see I bought for this month. You can only buy 1 per month, but that makes a world of difference. Typically, farming these items is an absolute nightmare. So even the fact that we can scoop up 1 a month is going to allow you to enhance your characters from their level 80 potential to a level 100 potential. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, once you get a character, you're going to be leveling it up. Let's say you get a character to level 20, you then have to enhance it in order to raise the level cap, which you can then get to level 40, level 60, and then level 80. If we go ahead and enhance Rolland here for the showcase purposes, we can then see we can enhance him a 4th time to get his level potential up to 100. It requires one of those 6-star enhancement materials I showed you, Foreign Light. The fact that, and it only requires 1. It's only going to require 1 of those 3. Sometimes you'll need a Foreign Light and a Visionary Light. Sometimes you'll need 1 of each in order to get to that level 100 mark. It is very important because as you raise a character's enhancement cap, it is going to allow you to unlock, as we're going to see here, more skills in that unit's ability board. That's what makes it so useful. You'll see it'll keep expanding. It unlocks the accessibility to these skills, which, as I mentioned in the very beginning, the ability board is your most crucial part of any character. You'll see that you notice there's kind of a ring blocking right here. You can see this area still in the darkness. If I enhanced Rollin to level 100, I would then have access to unlock his final tier skills, which are typically the best skills, some of the best skills that the character comes with in their kit. This all ties back to the point of why getting the most friend points available to you early is important, so you can get those materials when you need them, so you're not stonewalled by terrible RNG when you're attempting to farm for those materials. After you spend crystals on those 3 things, then yes, you're going to want to hoard those free-to-play crystals and then figure out your summoning goals, figuring out what your account has, figure out what characters or arcs you want to go for, and save and spend accordingly. I mentioned earlier in the video ways to identify other steps you want to take. Let's say you're not starting when this Super DOH banner is active and you don't know which banners to summon for. How do you figure that out? You gotta use your online resources. This is gonna be your Discord. This is gonna be your Reddit. This is gonna be YouTube, right? We've got your boy Buddha trying to give advice where I can. There are plenty of content creators making great content. I'm going to link all of those things in the description of this video so you have access to the Discord, the Reddit, other LC creators that I know personally and appreciate the content that they provide. Because the thing about this game is that it's very specific. There is so much to this game, and every account is going to need something different to give it an edge in certain things that it's lacking, right? If you start out with a certain set of characters, you're potentially going to want to try and summon for a completely different set of characters than another player because of the features or the mechanics that you're lacking. Let's say you have some of the best DPS in the game. Now you're going to want to spend your crystals to try and get some crazy support like Spirit Maiden Tyria, like Ruto, and vice versa. So you need to talk to people who can look at your account. Plenty of us are more than willing to help. Send some screenshots. We can then say, okay, looks like you have this. Now you're going to want to try and find things that do this, and this. So using online resources, once you get your account basics down, you've got your starter team, you've followed the tips I've given in this beginner guide, you then want to progress through story, and as questions arise, either search on YouTube for people who are offering further advice or jump in Reddit, Discord, and propose the questions for the veterans to answer. That's how I started. That's how I've gotten to where I am today. And I gotta say, it's been an awesome journey, and even just publishing on YouTube, seeing where I started to where I am now, it's incredible in the matter of 5 months how much progress we've made. So that's what I want to do. I want to help other people starting out get to the point like me, because I haven't even finished everything in this game. I'm not even close, and I'm having a blast because I know what I'm doing. I know what I need to get there, and I'm having a great time sharing everything that I learn. Okay, there's probably so much I missed. There are so many details I probably forgot and that can be expanded on, the things that I've already said. I'm sure I'm going to finish editing this video, or while I'm editing it, be like, man, I wish I would have said this, and this. But that's what I rely on you guys for as well. Just add certain things to the comments. Let people know any other tips and tricks to give them a head start in this game, because it can get very frustrating if you don't manage your account properly. You're going to be stonewalled, you're going to be blocked in story, unable to finish certain content, and it's going to be very hard to try and backtrack and recover because of how slow the grind is in investing in your characters and arcs. But I think I'm happy with what we've been able to talk about in this video, so I'm gonna leave the rest up to future posts and what you guys think. I hope this helped you out if you're just starting Last Cloudia. I hope it allows you to enjoy it as much as I have, and I know so many people have, because this game is so fun. It's so good. Once you get in the groove of it, it's literally addicting. It's what I think about my character builds. How is this art going to affect this? How's this skill going to work on this character? Oh, it's just so fun. The theory crafting, if you love it, this is a great game. So I hope you stick around. I hope to see you moving forward. Welcome to the journey that is Last Cloudia. So with all that being said, that's all I got for you this time. And y'all know what I say. Work hard, play harder. See you in the next video.